Today in this video, I'm going to go over the AI tool that I use the most and I get the most back on for my investment. And that tool is the Google Chrome's Claude AI extension. It is not just a chatbot in a tab, but it is an AI agent that lives in your web browser. It can take actions for you, whether it's clicking buttons, filling out forms, navigating across pages, and it is open to all Claude paid members. And it's really simple. So looking at our Google, I have it up now, but to have it actually installed, we'll just go to the three bars on the side here. And one thing to note too is this extension is only available in Google Chrome and then also Edge. So from here, we'll just go to extensions and go to manage web. And then from here, you could just search Claude, and there it is. And then once you download it, it will ask you for your login. I won't go through that exact process, but it's pretty easy from there. And then once you have it downloaded, I usually just sign into my extensions app, so it's easy to access. In this video, I just wanted to give you guys two demos to show kind of the range of abilities with Claude. We'll just go ahead and actually look at the setup. Once you click on it at the top, it will open up that sidebar that looks like a chatbot, similar to when you do Ask Gemini. Up here, you'll have your models, and for the paid versions, I believe you have access to all three models. I do have the lowest paid version, so I do have access to Opus 4 presets. But one thing to watch out, or a couple of warnings when you start using this, is the first, you will go through tokens pretty fast. So that's one of the downsides to it. So if it is a task, I would definitely do something that has a lot of return on it, or you don't want to use it and maybe you're not going to use Claude for the day, and so you can kind of just use it for that task and then wait until your limit resets, or you could just use the IQ for most of your task unless it requires multiple steps. Going over, we do have our settings over here, and we can convert things to tasks. And then if you go to your settings, it will then give you different options. You could have your microphone approved, and then you also have approved sites, shortcuts, and then options over here. What else? Clear chat is a nice feature if your context window is getting too large, or you just want to start over on the same page. That's a quick way to just reset everything. You could add images or take screenshots, and then this is the most important one that I would pay attention to, is you have to ask before acting, and then the act without asking. So this is just its permissions. When you do have it set to act without asking, it will give you this nice little high risk message just saying that it will not ask you for permission doing certain tasks. It will pretty much just do whatever it needs to accomplish the task you set it out to. So when you are using act without asking, make sure you set the scope really well and you plan it out beforehand so it just doesn't do anything too crazy. For ask before acting, I would start with this. It does kind of take away from the feature because you have to sit there and click yes, yes, yes for any actions it does take, but it will help you understand the process it goes through. And before you're comfortable with the tool, I would suggest that. So for our first demo, we're going to use this to create a table in Notion. I just wanted to show you its ability to do this because I know it's a time suck to set up any tables in Notion or Google Sheets, and it's one simple applicable use case you could take and do today. So we'll go ahead and do that. I will just ask it to go to my Notion account, and it's actually pretty fast. And comment, it does take a little bit more time. So this is what you'll see. And even for something like that, it has 7 steps, which takes up a lot of tokens. And a lot of the things you ask it to do, it will sometimes be anywhere from 7 steps to almost 200, 300. That's when you really start burning through tokens. And so it takes me to a table we already created. So we're going to go ahead, say, and just ask it to create a new page. So a few key use cases with this is you can use it to help you navigate a new AI software or a website that you haven't been to, and it just makes it a lot more faster. So we have our new page here. It kind of gives me a breakdown similar to what Claude would do. So for Claude's regular feature would do. So we are going to add a table, and this table will be tracking jobs postings. And so that was my prompt. So one thing to keep in mind too, I would not use this on any sensitive data. Say I have a CRM full of client data and it's accessible through the web. I would not have Claude actually work on it, because as soon as you prompt a question and it has to actually use its brain, which is the LLM, then it will take that information and send it to the LLM to then give you a response. So that's a risk right there. And then for the security, I would also speak to your IT team just to make sure it is an approved tool. I know, at least with my company, there is still only 2 AI approved tools that we can use. Another use case I use it for is doing any type of website work. It works very well with that, because it can actually read your screen and give you real-time feedback. Instead of my previous workflows, I've had to take screenshots and talk back and forth with it, so it saves a ton of time when you use it that way. So as we can see, it's pretty much built out a database, and then it's also given each one a data field, whether it's short text, long text, and then also a date field. And this was all just based on a 30-second prompt. You could definitely add more detail. I would suggest it. The more detail you give, the better the response. I don't want to go through the whole thing. It does take quite a bit, or it does take more time than, say, if you did it yourself. But the real benefit here in terms of productivity is you can have it do this while you're working on something else. That's the biggest thing with this. Another thing to point out before we get into our next demo is Google Chrome actually has these Google groups, or whatever they are calling it. But anytime you do open up the Claude and have it start working, it will stay within that group. And then it will open new tabs into that group. And to actually leave that group, you do have to just say delete group. And another interesting thing about this is it will actually stay open if you exit out of the page completely. So from here, we don't go to our second demo, which is more personal, but I know this would save a lot of people time and headaches, so I wanted to show this, and that is to cancel a subscription for a website. Nowadays, it is so hard to find how to cancel a subscription. They purposely just hide it behind layers of bullshit. So I just wanted to show you guys this example, because this alone is worth the $20 a month for sure. So this is a gym that I am canceling my subscription to because I've moved. So we're just going to have Claude do that, and then I'll just go work in some other tab, But okay, so travel to pretty fast. Let's see how fast it gets to the actual page. And yes, I live in Idaho, the great potato state. Okay, and it looks like it got us to the actual page. And in some cases, I have seen people actually use it to fill out forms. For me, it's just pretty fast just to autofill these. So, but that's completely up to you. But look at that, even for just that small thing, it was 21 steps. So that's something just to keep an eye on. So that's it for the demos. Just the last 3 reminders I want to give before you go out and use this is be careful of sensitive data. Don't use it while you're on a page with sensitive information. Another one is you do have to be aware of prompt injection, in which the website actually has something that will basically Claude will recognize, and then it will cause Claude to act differently. So Claude has been working on this, and they've reduced it down from about 20% to 13%. So the risk has gone down, but still there. So I would still be careful on what websites you let it travel on. Make sure it's all approved websites. And then the last one, I would suggest having hard guardrails for Claude, so it doesn't purchase anything without your permission or do anything that would affect you either personally or for your business. So let's bring this together. So it was installed in 5 steps, super easy install, and now you have a agentic AI in your browser that can actually take steps for you while you're working on something else. No code, no APIs, and this is a great starting point for this. So subscribe and then drop a comment with the first task that you're going to try. Thank you guys.